The Pittsburgh Steelers have a number of questions on defense this offseason. But at inside linebacker, those answers already might be there. What's going on, everybody? I'm Noah Strackmine. Thank you for jumping on to Steelers to Go, your daily to-go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. Find us on youtube.com/all Steelers talk or anywhere you get your podcasts. And today, maybe the Steelers already have their answer at inside linebacker next season. Maybe it's two guys that people did not see coming that will be here in Pittsburgh starting at inside linebacker in 2023. Maybe those names are Robert Spillane and Mark Robinson. And I won't lie, it's not the most fascinating group. It's not the two that you feel the most comfortable with or that you're the most excited to see, but it might be who they go with. In the last two games, Robert Spillane has played 100, I repeat, 100% of the defensive snaps for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The guy does not come off the field, and he doesn't want to come off the field. That's who Robert Spillane is. He's a guy that goes 110 miles per hour every single play. It's exactly what got him from the practice squad to the active roster, and then from the active roster to playing a significant role, and then from that significant role to playing 100% of the defensive snaps for 2 games. The Steelers have fallen in love with Robert Spillane this season. The way that they utilize him in every single package, he is their go-to. If they need a dime linebacker, Robert Spillane. If they need somebody to cover a tight end, Robert Spillane. If they need somebody to blitz, Robert Spillane. If they need somebody to play 100% of the snaps, Robert Spillane. Mike Tomlin loves this guy's character. He loves what he brings to the field. He loves his tenacity. He loves his ability to hit people, and the fact that he is intelligent enough to play both the pass and the run. And there's question marks. Obviously, Robert Spillane is not known to be the greatest cover linebacker, but I truthfully believe that maybe coaches are telling him to play certain ways to not give up the inside or not give up the outside in certain angles, and he follows that to a T, and sometimes that leads to soft coverage. I believe that that could be the case because it's never Robert Spillane missed coverage. It's never a Mike Tomlin complaining after the game that people weren't good enough and Spillane was one of them. He always, and I mean always, has high praise for Spillane. I've never seen him speak a bad word about the guy in my 4 years in Pittsburgh. So, if you had to guess, with Devin Bush and Spillane both being free agents this offseason and Miles Jack's contract set to jump up enough where chances are he's also cut, Spillane seems to be the guy that will be back. The almost guarantee that he'll be back. The guy that the Pittsburgh Steelers would love to be their linebacker 1 in 2023, because right now he is their linebacker 1 in 2022. So why not continue that? And then the other name is Mark Robinson. And I think that, as crazy as it sounds, a 7th-round pick who's barely played this season, who will barely play this season, could end up being a starter next year, and only for one reason. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to rely so heavily on Robert Spillane that they don't really need that second guy. They'll find a way to bring in another safety. They'll use Terrell Edmunds as much as they can in the box. They'll let Spillane be that linebacker 1 and that sub linebacker in all of these different packages. And then Mark Robinson's just going to be there to be the second inside linebacker who could really stop the run, who could hit people, who develops slowly but surely. Just kind of that guy, that number 2 guy. And it ties into kind of a little bit of everything. So you look at the whole situation. The Steelers have a number of needs. They need cornerbacks. They need defensive linemen. Chances are Larry Ogunjobi's not going to be back, so you need to fill his spot. Isaiah Loudermilk has underperformed. You need to fill his spot. DeMarvin Leal is a giant question mark. You have no idea what's going on there. You probably need to find a third edge rusher because you don't have one right now. Got to do that. You need at least one offensive lineman. You got to go figure that out. Chances are you draft a wide receiver because you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, so you're going to go use a draft pick there. There's just a lot going on for the Pittsburgh Steelers to say, okay, let's use a draft pick high enough that they need to be a starter on inside linebacker. So instead, what they'll do is they'll rely on Robert Spillane to be that all around inside linebacker, that guy that will not come off the field rarely ever. They did that before. I mean, Vince Williams was almost an every single down linebacker. Devin Bush, his rookie year, played games where he nearly played every single snap. And you would ask these questions. Can you play all of these downs? Is that okay? Are you risking injury? Blah, blah, blah. Robert Spillane would tell you, I don't care. I'm playing every single down. It doesn't matter. That's who I am. I'm fine with it. It's no big deal. That's who Robert Spillane is. That's what he would say. Mark Robinson's a dude who's just looking for an opportunity. You're going to get your opportunity in 2023. Let him run with it. And then instead of going out and using money that you don't necessarily have to sign an inside linebacker, which is an option. I'm not going to say it's not an option. You could go out and get another Miles Jack on a smaller contract, or somebody like Miles Jack that you could plug and play. But I think the Steelers are ready to develop guys, and I think they could use a mid-round pick on an inside linebacker and say, okay, look at this guy's just got to play special teams for a year, be that third inside linebacker for us. Not really a huge deal. And we'll work this 3-man rotation, but really it'll just be a 2-man rotation because it'll be Robert Spillane and a lot of Terrell Edmonds, and then Mark Robinson, and a little tiny bit, a splash of this mid-round rookie. I think the Steelers are looking for that. If I had to guess right now, that's how they're looking to approach the inside linebacker position in the offseason. And it doesn't sound like a bulletproof plan. It doesn't sound like one that really fixes a whole ton. But I think that in their heads, it gives them a platform to start on, which they haven't had in a while. They tried to have that platform with Devin Bush, didn't work out. They tried to have that platform with Robert Spillane. Maybe it is working out. Now they want to see if they could do it with Mark Robinson, and then you might as well bring somebody else in so that you have it there as well. That gives you 3 starting grounds that you can actually build off of and form an inside linebacker trio that you feel confident in for this future. Something, again, that the Steelers haven't been able to do since the Ryan Shazier days. I just don't know if the plug and play situation of the Pittsburgh Steelers is working out well enough that they feel confident in it moving forward. It does work for some positions. It's worked for James Daniels and Mason Cole very well, actually, but it's not working on inside linebacker with Miles Jack. It's not working at cornerback. It's a little bit working at safety, but that's still very new. It's a very maybe it'll work, maybe it won't type mentality. The Steelers are going to have to do that in a number of positions because they're not going to go draft an inside linebacker or a inside defensive lineman early in the draft enough where they could just start him next season. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a lot of DeMarvin Leal, probably sign somebody, and then you still have to find a true nose tackle because the Steelers don't have one. So that's another plug and play situation that you're going to run into. Cornerback, you're going to draft a cornerback. Chances are you're going to bring back either Akella Witherspoon or Levi Wallace, and then you're going to re-sign Cam Sutton. 1 year of meshing, but then you got a rookie that you got to shove in there. DeMonte KZ's on a 1-year deal, so you got to find another third safety, and you have to re-sign Terrell Edmonds. You got to figure out what to do on offensive line with Mason Cole and James Daniels, who both take spikes up, and Chuks Okorafor, who takes a major spike up. He'll be like a top 10 right tackle pay-wise in the NFL. That's a lot to ask of somebody. You got to figure out what to do there. And you have to address, is Kevin Dotson going to come back and be a starter next season? Because a lot of people assume that he won't be. And on top of that, you have Zach Gentry, who's a free agent. So you got to figure out what you're doing at tight end. You have a bunch of mix and match wide receivers, but none that are a true wide receiver 3. You got to figure that out. There's just so many question marks to say, okay, the Steelers love Robert Spillane this much that they aren't just going to bring him back and then figure out the rest out. Maybe with lesser options than ideal, but still options that they feel confident in. And I think Mark Robinson's one of them. And I really wouldn't be surprised if it's Mark Robert Spillane, a lot of Terrell Edmonds in the box, and then another mid-round rookie playing inside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers next season. It just seems to make sense. It seems to be the position of need that they do not like to focus on, and a position of need that they have guys that they trust enough to just kind of let that rock for another season and see if they could build a starting ground with some of these guys to kind of develop them. Is it going to work? I don't know. Does Robert Spillane deserve the praise that I believe the Steelers give him? I don't know. But if I had to guess, that's what the situation's going to turn out to be. So maybe people should just become friends or fans of Robert Spillane and Mark Robb. Because right now it's looking like those two will be the inside linebackers for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2023.